Hello bros and welcome back to another weapon guide. In today's video we'll talk about the L85A3 Assault Rifle, which won the previous poll by the most votes. We are going to discuss many points including raw power stats, information, tests, and of course builds with attachments and playstyle recommendations. So sit back, relax, and let's dive in. The L85 felt strange at the start, but as I was getting closer to level 40, I started understanding this gun. And to know why it felt strange, let's start with the raw power stats. It has 25 flat damage, which is in the middle of assault rifle weapon class, and a 635 rate of fire, which is on the lower side. It has a common for ARs 30 bullet mag, a 250 ADS transfer speed, a standard headshot multiplier on 1.34, and an approximately 2.77 second reload time. These raw power stats tell us that the L85 will shine at medium to long range, and it seems like to underperform in close quarters, as a low rate of fire and a 285 milliseconds time to kill are not the stats you can rely on. Of course, raw stats never tell the whole story, but we need to know them to understand the weapon, find the best use cases and playstyle, and multiply that with experience. In this particular case, it is what it is. Now for the damage profile. It has 3 damage zones with damage fall-off points at around 21 and 75 meters. To the body we deal 25, 20 and 16.7 damage in the relative zones. For a headshot we have a standard headshot multiplier of 1.34, hollow points armor has a standard multiplier of 1.5, and we have access to the synthetic armor with a 1.75 multiplier for headshots. This leads us to shot to kill and time to kill parameters. To the body we need 4 to 6 bullets to kill our target. For a headshot it cuts the needed shots to kill by 1. Hollow points armor makes it a 4 STK past 21 meters. And with synthetic armor, this weapon becomes very stable with 3 shots needed to kill up to 75 meters. Talking about time to kill parameters for multiplayer, it takes 285 milliseconds in the first zone, which is basically 2 times more than the TR7. On paper it looks bad, the same story as the PW7 SMG. But again, it doesn't mean the weapon is unplayable. It just needs a specific playstyle and it will rock. So we get a slow but very consistent and stable weapon in terms of STK and TTK, especially when we use synthetic ammo. But of course we should not forget that aiming for heads is way harder, as the body hitbox is larger by approximately 13 times, and our game can be very fast and explosive. So when we talk about ammo choice, we should take that into consideration, and it purely depends on the player's skill limit. Additionally, this weapon has good bloom and recoil, which in turn will let us use synthetic ammo more efficiently, but that's for a bit later. If you compare the L85 to other assault rifles, it takes 7th place, and the reason for that is a slow rate of fire, which impacts close quarters combat way more than mid and long range fights. Quickly about REDsec raw stats. It takes 8 to 12 bullets to kill, and the stability of the L85 makes it not the best, but a viable option if you pair it with something like SMG for close quarters. On the TTK side, if we compare it to other weapons, it's the same story as multiplayer. But again, REDsec is more about stability than the pure TTK stat. As we can see, the damage of this gun is mid and the rate of fire is pretty low. So how does this gun perform in reality? And the answer is, it can be actually pretty good in the right hands. This gun is very consistent and additionally has access to synthetic ammo. As for stability, bloom and recoil, the L85 performs pretty well for an assault rifle. A small remark here, we'll not test every attachment on every weapon anymore, as throughout all of these tests, it became too obvious that all attachments behave by the same rules. For example, the classic vertical grip gives around 30% recoil reduction, and it is 30% for every weapon. So we don't need to waste time testing every attachment for each weapon, but instead I'll make an ultimate attachment guide explaining it, and it will work basically for all weapons. There'll be a link in the description leading to it. Anyway, here's the test to find the typical bloom area for this gun, when aiming down sights based on 900 shots at a 20 meters range. The green area is where 98+% of bullets are landing, and the red area is for the last 1.5%. So your full basic 30 mag can have a pattern like this, for example, or like this, but every pattern will be inside those green and red zones. One thing to notice here, if you are spraying, it almost always goes left and right after 10 bullets or so. You'll need some time to get used to that. As was said, most of the bullets will land in the green zone, and the main direction of recoil movement is 12 degrees to the left. So to control it, you need to move the mouse accordingly. And if you use attachments for recoil reduction and bloom, we can shrink that area to this size. For hipfire, here's the test without attachments at all based on 900 shots at a 10 meters range. As we can see, the crosshair placement is again a bit to the right, so it actually kinda copies the behavior of Recoil and Bloom in the ADS. And again, here are the examples of 30 bullets fired. Areas can be a bit random, but they always land in this green area. We can shrink the Bloom to this size if you use attachments such as laser, flashlight and shot barrel. It is as obvious as Zaza playing for the vibes that a hipfire build can compete even if this gun is worse by stats. It simply is very accurate. One more thing, this gun loves burst fire habit. If you're used to it, it will be deadly accurate. Now we are moving on to the builds section. I found 3 main builds and styles while playing to be the most efficient and fun for this weapon, including a headshot tryhard, a CQB rusher and a recoilless build. The first build is HS tryhard. It's a synthetic ammo build, made with a defensive playstyle in mind. For the sight, I recommend 2.5 to 4x scope. Next we need a flash hider, an extended heavy barrel, a canted stubby, synthetic ammo, and the 30 bullet fast mag. With this build, the L85 becomes a controllable headshot destroyer. I definitely recommend using it in case you have at least 20% or more headshot rate. Below that, this won't be scary for your enemies. But if you pass that threshold, you'll delete heads, believe me. The optimal range for such gameplay is around 10 to 75 meters. You don't have the hipfire accuracy to fight any closer, and there is no point in wasting time on targets past the 75 meters range. It's way better to find a position closer to the battle and fire from cover. And do not forget, we are using synthetic ammo, so it's a 3-shot kill up to that range. Click ahead, celebrate, repeat. This build is limited by player's skill, so the better you play, the more effective it will be. And I mean, it's not a linear curve for synthetic builds, it skyrockets with the player's performance. The second build is I'm a CQB. As the name says, it is aimed at making the L85 a close-quarter striker. For the sight section, take what you want. I personally prefer the mini flags. Next we take a flash hider, a short barrel, a 20-point green laser, a flashlight and synthetic ammo. In case you want to make it more stable, I recommend switching synthetic ammo for a bigger mag or something like a handstop. This is very accurate with hipfire up to 20 meters, and it will be stable enough to kill your targets at 35 meters or so. On paper, we don't have the time to kill that can compete with the SCW or TR7 or shotguns. But what we do have is great hipfire accuracy. Combine it with an understanding of map routes, game knowledge, and it will let you shoot first and win those fights. You can possibly furiously run and slide and gun everything, but predicting the enemy is more important here as you can pre-fire. It's not as tryhard as PW7 for example, but not the easiest one to use. Take your time, use your experience, and kill them all. The third build is Recoilless. It's a standard armor, no recoil build for more stable and patient gameplay. For the sight, take what you want, I prefer a 2.5x. Next we need a lightened suppressor, an extended heavy barrel, a classic vertical grip, and a 30 bullet fast mag. This build is a classic no recoil option without close quarters potential. It makes recoil almost non-existent and very easy to control. The optimal range is anything past 10 meters. It will give you the opportunity to hit all of your shots. And if you're burst firing, man, it will be very accurate and basically never miss. Defensive playstyle is your bread and butter, but if you wish, you can play it more aggressively. Just do not overextend, and everything will be good. Very stable, none to say more. When it comes to my final thoughts on it, I'm a more aggressive and fast-paced player myself, and I don't like low rate of fire weapons at all. But outside of that, while leveling the L85A3 to level 50, I found that it's very consistent gun with the potential to be a great mid-range companion. It's not the best, it is somewhere in the middle, and it is one of the weapons that shines the more skilled the player is. But of course, those are my thoughts, and I would like to hear what you guys think about it in the comment section down below. And as always, vote in those polls for the next weapon you want me to cover. If you liked the video, press that like and subscribe buttons for the future content. Thank you for watching. See you next time. Bye bye.